Ruth Maguire to be followed by Donald Cameron.
Presiding Officer, I note with a really heavy heart the Cabinet Secretary's warnings in his statement about the impact on Scotland's unemployment figures. Given what we've seen this past week, from job losses to souring trade relations, would the Cabinet Secretary agree that this must act as a wake-up call for all members of this chamber, not least the Tories, about the seriousness of the situation we find ourselves in and the risk posed by Theresa May's approach to Brexit?
Cabinet Secretary.
I would agree. Unemployment is of course, a major problem of the economy, but it's also a personal tragedy for every single person who experiences it. And in these circumstances, we should try everything we can to avoid those personal tragedies. Now, there is a way to do so. An extension of Article 50 would find the first step in which confidence could be restored. But of course, the warning about this matter has been there for a considerable period of time. The Japanese government issued a letter in September 2016 to the UK government which made it absolutely clear what their attitude was and what the attitude of their companies would be into Brexit. The Prime Minister chose to ignore that letter. If you now look at that letter, and I read it again last night, if you now look at that letter, you realise that everything the Japanese government did not want to happen has happened and has been allowed to happen by the Conservatives. It is therefore little wonder that they are now saying circumstances have changed, we cannot continue with the investments we've had. But widely, businesses are now saying they cannot cope with this. The CBI, the NFU in England today, whole ranges of businesses saying this is impossible to live with. And still, the Conservatives do nothing. And still they pursue the chimera in Brussels with the Prime Minister rushing back across to negotiate something that is not negotiable. And in these circumstances, the Prime Minister needs to wake up, to actually recognise that this is her responsibility. And you know, first of all, to resign. That would be the most useful thing she could do. But if she's not going to resign, then the next thing she needs to do is to get that extension of Article 50, to make sure that there is circumstances are put in place so that there can be no deal, and then to have a people's vote. Then she can resign.